Hello, everyone. I'm Edrin, and for the video today, I've decided to tackle the topic on blue zones and everyday health behaviors. I'm going to reflect in this video on my own health habits and connect them to some of the concepts that we've learned throughout the book, including the stages of change, the health belief model, and the idea of blue zones in general. Right now, my daily habits are kind of a mix of healthy and unhealthy behaviors, which I want to change. A typical day for me usually starts with me waking up and immediately going on my phone. Honestly, I'll spend about an hour on my phone just laying there doom scrolling, kind of rotting before I actually get up and start my day. And that's definitely one of the health unhealthy habits that I can identify because it wastes a lot of my time that I know I could be using to be productive. And that just sets the tone of my day in such a bad way that it's something that has been negatively impacting me ever since. And once I finally get up, though, my day does become a lot healthier. I usually go make breakfast, go to the gym, and then I have my post workout meal, and then I'll take my dog for a walk. Those are probably the healthiest parts of my routine because they keep me active, they give me structure, and they make me feel physically and mentally better. Outside of that, some of my hobbies just include playing video games, such as League of Legends and Valorant. I've recently picked up going hiking. Going to the gym has always been part of my routine, and I've also recently started collecting vinyls and stickers. Uh, Hiking being something I picked up more recently, it's become one of my favorite things to do because it gets me time to go outside and be healthy and active and help clear my mind. The gym as well also helps me clear my mind. It's become a huge part of my routine ever since I incorporated it. And one of the biggest reasons I got into it was just so that I can improve my confidence because I used to not be very active when I was little. And that kind of took a toll on how I felt about myself. And the gym became a way of me to control that. One healthy habit that I've been desperately trying to change right now is doom scrolling. Because out of all my unhealthy habits, that's probably the one that I'm most aware of since it makes me lazy and unproductive and overall just sets the tone of my day to which I'm kind of stuck in this loop of depression and laziness and not being motivated. And if I spend too much time on my phone, it's easier for me to fall into other bad habits as well, such as binge eating, sitting around doing nothing. Um, those are just not good for my overall health. In terms of the stages of change model, I would say that right now I'm in the action stage, definitely. I'm not thinking about changing it anymore. I'm actively trying to fix it. One of the biggest ways that I've been doing that is by changing the environment around me. I've been really into organizing and upgrading my room as of lately so that it feels a lot more cleaner, a lot more organized, and a lot more intentional. Um, my hope is that my environment reflects my mental state and my physical state, and that by being cleaner and more organized, it'll translate into better habits so that I'm not just constantly wasting my time. And so far, I'd say that my progress has been going very well. It's definitely not negligible at all. There's a huge increase in my productivity since I've started, and I genuinely feel better about myself mentally and physically because of it. When I think about the health belief model and what motivates me to take care of my health, a big factor has always definitely been my family. I'm very family oriented. And I come from a long line of people in the medical field. So there's that constant pressure to stay healthy and take care of myself. But beyond that, I also think my motivation for staying healthy is strictly personal. Like I mentioned earlier, I used to not be very active. And that had a very depressing effect on my confidence. Once I started going to the gym and becoming a lot more consistent and disciplined within it, I realized how much better I felt, not just physically, but also mentally. And that became one of my biggest motivators. At the same time, there are things that make it harder to stay healthy, such as I mentioned before, doom scrolling, binge eating. But for me, that's just mostly convenience, bad habits, and the result of a bad routine. Um, Doom scrolling is such an imperative part of my life, and I really want to change that. But sometimes it's just easier to stay on the phone and not do anything and what feels good in the moment instead of actively doing something that might be better for me in the long term. But by recognizing that, I really hope to change it. When I think back to my childhood, health looked a lot different, but there are still some similarities. I used to do Taekwondo, um, and I always would be with my family. And I think that kind of shifted a little bit, but not really because I just transitioned my habits and hobbies into what I do now. Like I still eat with my family, but instead of doing taekwondo, I powerlift now, so I'm still kind of active. And I think being with my family who stresses health so much kind of built a really strong foundation for me. One realistic change that I could see myself making based on what we know about blue zones is definitely building better routines into my schedule to lower stress and manage myself better. One of the big lessons from the blue zones that I kind of learned is that health isn't always about extreme change. It's about the small changes that you make and the consistency on which you apply them in your everyday life that kind of make the biggest changes from where you are now. So I recognize that if I want to feel balanced overall, I'll definitely have to have a more structured routine for things like sleep, screen time, and meals. Reflecting on the habits I've had so far, of what made me both good and both bad, um, I realize that I still have a lot to improve on. I already have some strong, healthy habits in my life, like going to the gym, hiking, and walking my dog, and staying active. But I also know that I have a lot of room to grow. When it comes to stress management, screen time, and being more intentional with my daily routine, I think that's the biggest takeaway that I can take is that health isn't just one decision, it's multiple decisions put into a pattern of choices that we use in our everyday lives to help strengthen ourselves more and more each day. And I think that if I just keep making small changes over time, I can make a big difference. Thank you.